Lately, we shocked by the case and the disaster called coronavirus, and the new name is COVID 19. However, the first case is in Wuhan, China. Um, it's happened by the someone who eat the bat from the jungle and go into the city and spread the virus. We also have the rumor that WHO, that the organization who want to create the virus and spread around the world. So this virus make a dangerous disaster such as economy problems. So around the world have the a lot of problem, and the worst country that have the problem about the economy is China. So my group, our group, want to make a research for the China about economy of China for the COVID 19 problem. Let's go.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I will talk about the background of China. The current population of China is 1,450,326 and 569 as of Monday, June 27 and 2022, based on Worldometer elaboration of the latest United Nations data. China population is equivalent to 18.47% of the total world population, and China ranks number 1 in the list of countries and dependencies by population. China's annual GDP growth throughout the 1980s, 1990s, and early 2000s frequently topped 10%, but in 2019 that growth was predicted to be 6.3%, but given the effects of the US-China trade war, it is likely to be closer to 6%. The greatest economic sectors in China are manufacturing, service, industry, and agriculture, which together employ the bulk of the country's workforce and contribute the most to GDP. Notably, China is now classified by the World Bank as an upper middle income country. China continues to be a global leader in manufacturing, but it also has a sizable and rapidly expanding service industry. Okay, this table will show you about the distribution of the gross domestic product GDP across economic sectors in China from 2011 to 2021, which includes agriculture, industry, and service sector. One of the main economic sectors in China is the agriculture sector. China continues to be the world's top agricultural producer, followed by India, despite the fact that agriculture now makes up less than 8% of its GDP in comparison to the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan, where agriculture accounts for roughly 1% of GDP. China's contribution of economic output is still significantly higher. China's agriculture has seen change as a result of the economic reforms of 1978. 4 out of every 5 Chinese people used to work in agriculture. This change as private farming was supported by property rights and small business in rural regions grew as a result. Big increase in output and productivity were achieved by private farming. China is a major exporter of a variety of goods, including rice, cotton, pig, fish oil, wheat, potatoes, corn, peanuts, millet, barley, apples, cotton, and other agricultural products. Government support and low labor costs help keep its agricultural products competitive despite a fragmented transportation network and a shortage of cold storage facilities. Okay, the other main economic sector of China is the industry sector. 39.4% of China's GDP in 2021 came from the industry sector, which comprises manufacturing, construction, mining, and utilities. In terms of industrial output, China is the top of the planet. This includes mining and ore processing, processed metals, cement, coal, chemicals, and fertilizer. Additionally, it excels in the production of arms, textile, clothes, and machinery. China also ranks well in the production of processed foods, consumer goods, and telecom equipment. It is an expanding supply of vehicles such as cars, trains, ships, aircraft, and spacecraft, including satellites. Okay, the last economic sector of China is the service sector. Over the past 2 decades, the service sector in China has more than doubled its contribution to economic output, accounting for 53.3% of GDP in 2021. In 2013, it already surpassed the industrial sector. Transportation, storage and shipping, wholesale and retail trades, hotel and catering service, financial service, and real estate are just a few examples of the service industry. Despite its rapid growth, China's service sector still makes up a significantly smaller percentage of GDP than US, where service made up about 78% of GDP in 2018.
Next is inflation and employment during COVID-19 from year 2019 to year 2021 in China. In year 2020, inflation in China hit the highest level in more than 8 years last month as the coronavirus drove up demand for consumer goods and shattered business activity in part of the country. Next, in the same year, year 2020, in April, China's jobless rate rose to 6.1%, the highest level since the 6.2% peak seen in the early part of the COVID-19 pandemic in February 2020. We can see the data of inflation rate and employment rate in China from year 2019 to 2021. In 2019, the inflation rate is 2.60% and employment rate is 3.62%. And next 2020, the inflation rate is below in year 2019 at is 2.39%. But the employment rate in 2020 is increased to 4.24%. And the next year, 2021, the inflation rate get inflation rate the lowest, that is 0.85%, and the employment rate is 3.69%. Next, we can see the pie chart and the graph for inflation rate from 2019 to 2021, and we can see the pie chart and the graph for employment rate from 2019 to 2021.
Okay, next is I'm going to present about how China government overcome the problem. Firstly, the relationship between disease control and resumption of production must be handled carefully and effectively. Okay, presently, although there are many indications that overall situation is stabilizing, the turning point is yet to come, and there is still a high level of daily increase of confirmed cases that demand continued high alertness. In the next few days, as we have pointed out early, the risk out of further spread of virus remains high as we approach the peak time of large-scale return of migrant workers. It is undeniable that it's very tricky to manage the conflict between disease and restoration of product. We believe, however, in a situation where the turning point of the outbreak is yet to come and there is still considerable risk that the virus may spread wider, the control of outbreak is still the number of one priority, and production and services may resume in areas where the risk is well under control, because should the outbreak not effectively controlled, there would be greater uncertainties facing the overall economic growth, and the ensuing costs would be so much the higher as we approach the dates of large-scale resumption of worker and production. Different places may adopt policies to facilitate a differentiated and strange process of return to normal based on the local outbreak status as well as the different characteristics of enterprises and industries, and also the business model, and should maintain flexibility in these policies. Secondly, adopt more proactive fiscal policies to effectively support the needs to fight the disease. On the one hand, measures may be taken to further reduce the tax burden of small and medium-sized enterprises and provide subsidies directly to severely afflicted enterprises critical to national economy and people's livelihood. Consideration should be given to the rising personal income tax threshold to increase the spending power of the people. On the other hand, major effort should be made to increase investment in infrastructure projects in cultural, education, and medical health sector to increase the overall level of demand as well as facilitate high-quality economic development. Thirdly, adopt moderately relaxed monetary policies to maintain reasonable and sufficient liquidity and ensure the stability of financial market. In these unprecedented outbreak, measures include further lowering the deposit reserve ratio and benchmark interest rate and continue increase the liquidity may be considered to reduce the financing costs and help small and medium-sized enterprise to survive this crisis. At the same time, action should be taken to maintain stability in the capital market. Regulators should follow up with more effort to restore rationality in the market and help investors settle down with their expectations. Fourthly, accelerate the supply side structural reform and increase the total factor productivity. To cope with the pressure of slowing economic growth, it may be practical to resort to expansionary fiscal and monetary policies in the short term. The room of expansion, however, be it fiscal or monetary policies, is limited, and long-term consequences of these economic policies must be fully considered. In fact, there are other major ways of dealing with the slowing down of the economy, and they have more lasting positive effects, including the stepping up of market-oriented supply-side structural reform, improving total factor productivity, making full use of the decisive role of the market in resource allocation, fully motivating the private enterprise and providing substantial assurance on their confidence in investment. Fifthly, make major effort in increasing the fiscal funding for the public health sector and easing the supply shortage in medical and health resources. The outbreak has laid bare Chinese insufficient investment in the medical health sector, including disease prevention, medical care resources, and capabilities, and hospital enrichment. A successful transformation in this regard should be included as one of the key targets in China pursuing high-quality economic development and comprehensive well-off society. Lastly, take serious action to explore options and establish sound mechanism for emergency response. This outbreak, a major emergency event far-reaching in impact and long in duration, has presented huge challenge to existing social governance model, but at the same time also offered a great opportunity to reflect, learn, improve, and change how best to respond to and manage such a situation. In formulating policies and mechanisms, the policies makers and decision makers may study and draw on the best practice and useful experience of other countries, and fully seek input those specializing in relevant field to put in place early warning and response mechanisms that are more timely and more efficient.
So the conclusion, we know that the country of China is the country of origin of COVID-19. So it spread COVID-19 disease spread over the world, almost every country in this world. So during this study, we learned very lot from this study, and there are also information that we already know, but there are new information about the how to overcome macroeconomics problem in country when there are COVID-19 disease spread. So the country of China was fully controlled, and their government will try to prevent the people from being patient for the most dangerous disease. China is the worst country ever to have a lot problem for the COVID-19, because the COVID-19 was from their country. So without working of China government, this disease can be controlled until now. As we had research for this country, we also found that China had a lot of sector that need to be protected from this disease, as they are very important asset to make China work better in the best for the best in the future. Next, COVID-19 was the dangerous enemy ever since 2019. For our work, we should bring together and do a teamwork with other countries to make this COVID-19 disappear from our world forever, and never make a comeback. So our group member has already do some research about this problem and how to overcome macroeconomic problem in China country through the research from the internet. So that's all. Thank you for watching.